Jack, you've had all weekend.
You've had all weekend,
Jack.
All
weekend.
I mean, seriously, right at the moment we start.
What's more important, IPS or us?
What?
I said, what's more important, IPS or us?
Is us. I mean, because IPS will still be there in 2 hours.
And for those of you, anybody else that's wondering what IPS stands for, International Planetarium Society.
Yep. I guess we just have to wait for your mom, and that's it. Then we can get started. And your mom's here.
She is here. Hi, Mom. She didn't miss it this
time.
On
cue.
She missed it last time.
Well, yeah.
You know.
But she wanted to join us last Saturday.
She did.
Last Sunday.
She did,
last Sunday.
When there was nothing.
There was nothing.
Nothing happening. Because we already did it.
The week before.
Yeah. Anyway.
But the next time we do this, it will be at your mom's.
It will be. We will have a new set. That's not really a set.
No.
Other than a location. Yeah, we should figure that out. Anyway, not now. Anyway. Hey, everybody out there. I'm going to start the episode right now. Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be,
I guess. Are you ready? All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cosmos with Cosmos. I'm Liz.
I'm Mike.
And Brandon's on assignment.
Yeah.
He's across international waters.
Yeah, we sent him a text earlier today, and he said that he's working on 27 hours of no sleep. So that's Brandon. Because he can't sleep on a plane.
Oh, I can sleep anywhere.
Yeah,
anyway.
I have a hard time.
Anyway, we can do this episode of High in the Sky, where we talk about what's up in the night sky and some latest astronomy news. We can do it without him. But for now, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a perihelion.
Hey!
Hey, it has gin, the last of our gin. Yeah, needed to get that out of the house. The last of our gin. It also has dry vermouth. It has raspberry liqueur and lemon juice. And normally it comes with egg white to give it a nice frothiness. I just didn't want to have to crack any eggs. You didn't want to? I did not want to.
Sometimes you gotta crack some eggs, Mike.
No, not this time.
You gotta, or in my case, just breaking them. That's what I do, because I can't crack eggs very well. They just get broken. Meanwhile,
what are you drinking?
It has been snowing all day.
It has.
It's still snowing. And so I'm cold. In fact, I kind of wanted to wear a sweatshirt, but I know I'll get hot. I am drinking a warmth in a cold, snowy evening.
Did you forget the name?
Yeah. Yep. And this is basically just some coffee. It is Pete's Major Dickinson dark roast blend coffee with some peppermint schnapps, some creme de cacao, and marshmallows.
Yeah, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Actually sounds really good. Yeah, it's been snowing all day. So Google says we're only going to get like an inch of snow. We already have 3 inches of snow on the ground. So Google doesn't know what hell it's talking about.
Federico, you don't have to apologize for being late. You're not required to show up. I'm just saying. No one's required to actually show up to this, except for us.
We want everybody to show up. We have to apologize if we're late. But we were not renewing our IPS membership, so
we were on time. Jack's done it. He's done that adulting bit for right now, and he's only drinking black coffee with a raspberry. I don't know what that is. So
is it Polish?
It is. Looks Polish. Peshi. Anyway. All
right, Federico, what's the weather in Italy, since we're doing weather here? And Jack, what's your weather? Go ahead and put it in chat.
And while you do that, I'll say for our starting soon video, which is the ISS over the Earth, it was over the South Pacific and just clouds.
Yeah,
so it's just some cloudy, gloomy weather all around. Although I do enjoy the snow. It is like a nice winter wonderland.
The snow's beautiful when it falls. And I went driving in it today.
You did. You briefly went ironically to go get ice. Drove in the snow to go get ice.
All right.
Anyway. Oh, right. We have a show.
Got?
We're doing a show, right? First off, follow us on all the things.
All of them.
At Drinking Cosmos on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else. And you can find the podcast on your Spotifys and your Googles and your Apples. And then you can see us, if you like to look at us when you're listening to us, on the YouTubes. Oh, it's a Polish donut with real raspberry jam filling. Oh, that's good. I like that.
I love how Federico goes, it's 51 degrees Fahrenheit or better, 11 degrees. Yes, the whole world needs to be on the metric system. Or I should say the U.S. needs to, go with the rest of the world.
I appreciate you accommodating us with the Fahrenheit there, Federico. Very nice.
Otherwise, I would have had to do some mental calculations for you.
Meanwhile, while you're following us, check out some fantastic art of one Katie Davison, Wildixia, IXIA, on Etsy. She's got cool stuff, and she is at Disney World right now. She is on her way to Disney World. And you can also check out a good friend of ours, Mr. Ron Proctor, MrProctorShow.com. He does things, toodles around, educating the masses and enlightening the world. And, of course, good old Jack Rolling Bluffs Planetarium.com. So, if you're in the Midwest neck of the woods areas.
If you're in Iowa, check them out. Definitely go check out
a Planetarium show from him. And meanwhile, every other Wednesdays, you can find us again with little shots, bit-sized of astronomy for you on The Shot with Cosmos every other Wednesday. Meanwhile, while we're doing the show, if the jocks start barking or if we make any nerdy references to Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, take a drink.
You left one off. If my mustache falls off.
Yeah, I reused a Google Doc from...
All right, what do we have?
Apparently when you were... was that when you were Einstein? That was when you were Einstein.
Yeah, it was when I was Einstein.
Right.
What do we have? Because I am coming into this podcast. I have only read the first bullet point. That is all I've read.
You didn't go through it at all?
I did not go through it.
Oh,
so
well.
This is going to be a fun ride for me.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a fun ride for everyone. It is weird to think of the upper Midwest and Italy as being like having the same weather happening.
Yeah, I always think Italy is, it's Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Italy is always like really nice, and then the Midwest is just like there's tornadoes constantly happening. All right, it's time to get high in the sky. So, in the evening sky now, in January, there are some planets. I mean, generally there's going to be some planets that are up there, because they're also hanging out in the solar system, orbiting the sun, just like we are.
I know one of them is up there, because it's the bullet point I read.
The one that you read. What is it, Mike?
It is Venus, and it's in the southwestern part of the sky.
It is. All month. You can find Venus in the southwestern part of the sky. It is... very bright.
It's the third
brightest object. So sun, moon, Venus.
Yeah.
Because the ladies are hot. So it's gonna be really easy to spot. I should have put this together with this first note. But Venus and Saturn on January 23rd.
And we've already broken down the
Actually,
show.
yeah, I know. I should have put the bullet point next to each other, but I was doing this dumbly.
They're going to be next to each
other? Venus and Saturn, they're going to be hanging out together all month, basically.
Oh, okay.
So where you find Venus, Saturn's going to be just like a little bit, I think, I don't know what direction this would, to the side of it. And Saturn itself it's a decently bright, object to spot. But it's actually 75 times dimmer than Venus.
Oh, 75.
But yeah, but you don't really if you look, you wouldn't think of that. I never thought of that before because Saturn seems bright in its own right. I mean, Venus is very bright.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was 75 times brighter than Saturn,
which
was kind of interesting to me. Mars is fighting its wars in Central Taurus all month.
Is it in retrograde? How does that affect?
Nothing. It doesn't. In fact, actually, earlier this month, Mars came out of retrograde and is in prograde. It is currently in prograde.
I think that's why I'm feeling a little better.
Maybe, yeah. No, it's not. The planets don't dictate any part of your life. Jesus. Anyway, so Taurus the bull, you can spot it by looking for this V shape of stars, and then to the right of that, like a little mini dipper of stars, a cluster called the Pleiades. And so that's kind of like
what do they call it in Japan?
Subaru. We do this every time we talk about the Pleiades.
Well, yes.
And these are both star clusters, and so the V makes out the face of Taurus the bull.
It's called the Hyades.
So you can think of Mars then, if that's the face, then its body is just going to be to the right. And so I'll look for a red bright dot in the body of the bull. And that'll be Mars. Now, there is going to be a brightish red object in that V, or looking like it's in that V when it's not, and that is Aldebaran, and that's the eye of the bull. It's going to be a little bit more orangey red, okay? So that's not going to be Mars. So the bright one that's by the V, not Mars. The red dot in the middle of its body, Mars.
Aldebaran means bullseye, right?
Yeah, bullseye.
Yeah, so in Arabic.
You know what? I've never called it... I've always said the eye of the bull. I've never said bullseye.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think this is the first time I've ever called it the bullseye as well. But, I mean, that's kind of what it is.
That is.
But, we think of bullseye as you're throwing darts or something.
Maybe that's why I never phrase it that way. Anyway. All right, Jupiter. Jupes. It's going to be visible early evening for most of the month, but at the end of January, it's going to start setting at dusk in the west. So... you'll get a good side of it.
Which is good, because when we get to Oregon, we can say it's a different planet, because we always had to say it was Jupiter for your mom.
That's right. She's like, what's that bright one? And I'm like,
it's Jupiter.
It's Jupiter.
What's that bright one? And then 2 weeks later, what's that bright one? Same planet as before, Jupiter.
It's Jupiter. Well, and it was Jupiter. But at the end of the month, which we're getting closer to the end of the month.
We're going to move on to the next set.
It'll be setting at dusk. And it's the second brightest object in the sky.
You mean what? No.
It's the third brightest. No.
Fourth.
It's
gotta be the fourth, at least.
Hey, everyone. It's high in the sky.
Jupiter is as bright as the full moon, which means we are screwed.
That would be very bad. Yes, that would be bad. That would be like, well, say you love your people. Tell your people you love them.
Goodbye. You remember when? It was like years ago.
Oh, the Saturn thing?
No, it was Mars, right? Was it Mars?
Mars.
Mars is going to be as big and bright as the full moon.
And it's like, if that is happening, then we're all dead. So let's hope it's not.
Yep.
We're going to have a repeat Thea incident.
Yep, that is not a good thing. So.
Anyway. So again, I mentioned Venus and Saturn are going to be hanging out together all month, kind of in the southwestern part of the sky. But on January 23rd, the moon's going to stop by and say hi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty close to him. It's going to be like, hey guys, it's going to be a crescent moon, which is good because that way the moon's not like super bright. And so, you can see them. You can look at the moon and Jupiter and Saturn and Venus.
It's actually one of the best times to see the moon, like through a telescope.
Yeah.
Because you can see the shadows going across the craters.
From that Terminator line between the dark and between the night and day side. The shadows that are cast.
Yeah, it makes the moon feel 3D. Which it is. It's a sphere, right? But when you look at the moon...
The moon's not flat?
No, only the Earth is flat, remember?
That's right.
Everything else is a sphere.
Right.
But when the moon is full, which is when people want to look at the moon through a telescope...
Oh, no. It can damage your eyes.
First of all, you need to put on a lunar filter.
A moon filter.
Yeah, to knock some of the brightness down because it is very bright. You can like temporarily blind yourself with it.
It's reflected sunlight, people.
Yeah, but also it looks very flat because there's really no shadows. Because on a full moon, you're looking at it at basically at noon.
Yeah, like
and
peak
it's
daytime
for the moon, and it's
Yeah, but then the moon goes a-wandering, as it does.
As it does.
And on the 25th of January, it's going to stop by Jupiter. I was gonna be like,
I
Jibs.
say hi there.
Jibs, what's up? And in fact, in a pair of binoculars, both will share the same field of view. That's how close the moon is.
Oh,
gonna
wow.
Get to
So it's going to be really big.
How close it gets to Jupiter.
Wow, that's...
So that's their
that's really close.
Yeah, it's a close conjunction. And then a little planet that hardly gets any recognition at all, whether in space or in the night sky. And that's because usually it's a little planet that like sticks pretty close to our sun. You know, it's a mama's boy. You know, it doesn't like to stray too far. Of course, I'm talking about Mercury. Just a barren, desolate world.
And now, the smallest planet in the solar system.
That is the smallest planet in the solar system now. Shut up, stop whining about it. Jesus. It usually, because it's the closest planet to the sun in the solar system, in our night sky, it usually is pretty low on the horizon. But on January 30th, it's going to reach its greatest western elongation. It's going to have 25 degrees of separation from the sun. So it's actually the best time to see Mercury in the early morning hours. In fact, around 6:15 a.m. local time is the optimal time to go out and try to take a peek at Mercury.
You know, I have almost run off the road twice. Looking at astronomical objects.
Yeah, don't look for stuff in the night sky when you're driving. Don't text and drive.
Don't text and drive.
Don't astronomy and drive.
For me, it's don't astronomy drive. So I both times in Arizona. One was I was driving up towards Flagstaff. And I just looked out the window, and there was the Milky Way.
Oh,
and so just blazing across the sky, and almost ran off the road. The thing is like it was at Bumblebee, which is
middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, but it was also you're going up this huge mountain pass.
Oh, the Bumblebee Crown King.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going up this huge mountain pass. And that is not where you want to run off the road. The second time was actually in Phoenix, where I did actually see Mercury. And I was like, that's Mercury! And almost ran off the road. So, don't astronomy and drive.
I gotta stay awake while we're driving at night now.
You what?
I'm gonna stay awake and keep my eye on you while we're driving at night now.
Well, you know, the good news is we're not going to be making these long trips in the middle of the night like we have been known to do.
That's true. All right, last thing, as far as planets and stuff go, also on January 30th in the evening sky, the moon is going to hang out with Mars.
Nice.
And they will also share the same view in a field of view in binoculars.
And by the way, seriously, if you do have binoculars or even a telescope, please look at these things through a telescope. Saturn is amazing. You can see its rings. Jupiter, you can see its the belts and zones, basically the bands that go across
with a good enough,
with a large enough telescope.
But with like just some I'd say crap, but you know, like cheapy telescope that's not
Yeah, like
super for just a really cheapy kind of like even kid telescope, you can see the rings of Saturn.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
And they're amazing.
We do not advocate you going to Walmart or Target to buy your telescopes, but if you do, then those telescopes are good enough to show you the rings of Saturn and the belts and zones of Jupiter.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever you live, there's going to be an astronomy club. They have
star parties,
and they're more than happy to have you. And when we get to Oregon, we need to go to an observatory.
Local observatories and stuff will do things like that. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Check out the night sky. See what's up there.
That's our show. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Apps like Google Sky Maps and the Apple Sky Maps, they can help you out. If you're wondering what something is, Mom, and there's nobody around to help tell you what it is, Mom,
you can just point your...
You can just get one of those apps, like the Apple, I don't know what the Apple one's called, but Sky Map, and you just point your phone at the sky, and it'll tell you what it is, what you're looking at, and where things are.
I'm
surprised I haven't shown her how to use that yet.
Which is really great and creepy at the same time. That your phone knows exactly where you are and which way you're facing. And it's...
By having a cell phone, we've all consented to just global Big Brother, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on, away from the sky into the news realm.
Oh.
The news realm.
Nice.
I don't have too much.
I like how your mom just says, okay.
Today. She's like, all right. But, and this is one for Brandon, even though he's not here, this would make him feel, well, a little bit better, maybe. But NSF, the National Science Foundation, and SpaceX, they've reached an agreement to reduce Starlink's effect on astronomy. So Starlink is this constellation of satellites by SpaceX. It's not the only one that's has or is developing a constellation program, but it's all these tiny satellites to create internet or whatever.
Yeah, and internet access.
To have better internet access across the world, which is great, which is really good.
Which is great.
I mean, there's a lot of
admirable.
people that need internet. However, these things get really bright and they block stuff, and it's hard to use telescopes and do really good astronomy when you have this fucking constellation of satellites that are just like flying by constantly and in your way.
And what's frustrating about this is SpaceX is not the only ones now.
No,
there are other companies that are doing it, and so NASA and NSF are going to have to reach out to all of these companies and figure out a thing. And the problem is that these companies aren't their emphasis is not the accumulation of astronomy knowledge. Their emphasis is making the money. And so this cuts into their bottom line in a way. And
so the agreement is that SpaceX will deploy a quarter of the 30,000 satellite system. A quarter of the 30,000 satellite system.
So what, 7,500
and then they're deferring consideration of the rest of the constellation.
Okay, but that's good news. That's good news.
And it will continue to work to dim its satellites so that they're no brighter than 7th magnitude, which means that they will be invisible to the naked eye.
But
and then
that's not the issue.
reducing their effect on sensitive astronomical instruments. And they've agreed not to transmit when their satellites pass over major radio observatories.
Oh, okay, that's good.
However, this agreement, it's all voluntary. This isn't anything that is law, nothing that they can be legally really be held by.
So it's not going to happen?
So
it'll happen for like 2 months?
Yeah,
and then,
it's kind of
and then
their
Musk
word.
will be like, I want more Twitter access.
Well, luckily, Musk doesn't run SpaceX anymore.
Well, no, but
He
he's going to be like,
doesn't
I
have control
want more
so,
Twitter.
No one wants more Twitter. Okay. So that's good. We'll see what happens. I mean...
I'm sorry, I was laughing at Jack's
comment. We'll see what happens with it, but I mean, it's a good first step
until
there is some form of legislation and stuff. Because I mean, and this happens with all kind of new technology, is then seeing like, oh shit, this is affecting XYZ in certain ways, and that's when then the laws and the legislation come in to kind of rein things in or kind of see how it's to make something new, more manageable for everybody on the planet.
Yeah, and I do think this is a good idea. It's just my pessimism towards corporate America, corporate. Yeah. It's not just corporate America.
We're
okay.
Anyway. Next bit of news is an 850-year-old supernova left a zombie star.
What's a zombie star? What's that? Oh, that would have been perfect for Halloween.
I know, right? So there was a supernova that occurred 850 years ago that was recorded by people in the Far East that observed this. And so astronomers, they study these supernova remnants, to learn more about it, learn more about stellar evolution and all this good stuff. And there's a team that basically was observing this supernova remnant. The Robert Fesson of Dartmouth College, it's his study, and he presented it at this year's AAS conference.
American Astronomical Society, which was in Seattle.
And basically, by studying the supernova remnant, there's a white dwarf hanging out in the center of it. Now, normally, you have type 1a supernovas. Those ones, big bada booms, nothing remains. There are no survivors. But there are like a rare type of supernova called 1AX.
Okay.
And these ones, a star can actually survive the supernova. They're not as bada boomy as 1As. And so Dr. Fesson says, I've worked on supernovae for decades, and he's never seen anything like this. He photographed this star in this supernova remnant, this nebula, in late October 2022 with the 2.4 Hiltner telescope. A 2.4 meter Hiltner telescope at Kitt Peak Observatory, which is another place you can go, and they do public observing at night.
If you're in Arizona,
if you're in Tucson, you can go to
it's
Kitt's
like
Peak.
what, an hour from Tucson?
Yeah, and you can do a little nighttime. They'll do a nighttime public thing for you.
But the scariest thing is that you have to drive down the mountain, right? It's down the mountain
with your lights off. Yeah, because of they're doing actual astronomical work up there, so you can't have your lights on.
They do have a car that you follow.
Yeah.
But you have to do it with your lights off.
That's funny. Okay. So these basically this supernova resulted. It happened when two white dwarf stars collided. So a white dwarf is the remnant of a sun-like star that kind of puffed off its outer layers of gas and dust, and the core shrunk down to what's called a white dwarf, where it just kind of radiates away its leftover energy, and it's just like, I'm taking a while. I'm gonna go snooze. But two white dwarfs apparently collided. We got a boom, but a white dwarf remained.
Okay, so it wasn't massive enough to make a neutron star.
No, it wasn't massive enough to make a neutron star. And so you have this what's being called an extremely energetic zombie star behind. So the central white dwarf has a surface temperature of 200,000 Kelvin. It's 100,
which is hot, much hotter than the sun.
It is 130 times the luminosity of the sun. And it's fading. Which
is how much energy it's putting out per second.
And it's fading quite rapidly. 1.7 magnitudes over the past century.
Okay.
And the most weird and remarkable thing about it is that it has a stellar wind that travels outward at 16,000 kilometers per second, or 5% of the speed of light.
That's about 10,000 miles per second.
And so Fesson says that it's insane. The stars simply don't have wind speeds those fast. Even really giant, luminous Wolf-Rayet stars, their wind speeds are like a few thousand kilometers per second at most.
So do they understand the physics of this?
Well, this is where they say that the supernova was the rare 1AX type. It's a low luminosity supernova, and so they think that that's why you have this star left over, and that's why they've never, it's kind of like the conditions of the supernova created this kind of, weird thing that we don't usually see, and
so they don't quite understand.
So they don't really quite understand it. So Fesson, he has applied for observing time on both Hubble and James Webb. And he says that the WST image will be simply amazing, and it would make for a great 4th of July image.
Oh, nice.
So he's gonna use some good ass telescopes.
So it must have some fireworks.
Yeah.
And so, all right, cool.
To get more information, so we can learn more about this crazy star. That's the byproduct of a kind of a low luminosity supernova.
I'm gonna have to look that up. It's the stellar wind. It's the stellar wind. I'm interested in the physics behind the stellar wind. For the star. Why is it creating a? Mm-hmm. Is it
because of
how fast related?
how fast its energy is kind of
Well, probably. I mean, because all right, so you have a star. This star is not creating energy in its core.
Yeah.
So it's cooling down.
Yes.
So it's cooling down. Part of that is the stellar wind is going to carry some of that energy away, but it's also the light that it emits is also going to carry that that energy away. So so I would say it probably is related. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know the physics behind it and what they think it is. I mean, going 1.7
1.7 magnitudes over the past century.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, and it's, of course, to have the circumstances to have two white dwarfs in a binary system close enough that they then collide and have this type of, I mean, this is like these are rarer events than just a big star, a regular big ass star going through its lifespan and going boom.
Mm-hmm. Did it say how far away it is?
Yes, but I did not put it in the notes.
Oh.
The article said how far away it is.
It'd be really interesting.
And they calculate it to be the supernova remnant, the nebula. They calculated that nebula to be 850 years old, but it's like a certain number of light years away.
Yeah,
I can't remember what.
It'd be really interesting.
Or I don't know.
Can LIGO? Is LIGO sensitive enough to detect the gravitational waves from two white dwarfs? Because it should act the same way that like neutron stars and black holes coalescing. It's going to give off gravitational waves. It won't be as big, obviously. So it'd be really interesting to know if LIGO has that capability to actually be able to detect two neutron stars. I have to look it up.
That'd be cool. All right. The comet cometh.
It sounds like we're going to die.
We're not going to die, but there's a comet coming. Comet's going to come by, designated as C3/2022 ZTF.
So new one. This is a new one.
It was first discovered in March 2022. It's been getting closer to Earth and brightening. It's expected to reach its brightest point in early February. And it's going to take it on a path through the sky to bring it close to the Big Dipper and Cassiopeia, both of which are in the northern part of the sky.
That explains a work question I got about comets.
Oh, right.
Okay, that's the one. I gotta look into this.
And so astronomers have calculated that it's on a 50,000 year orbit. So it hasn't come by for a while.
Yeah.
It's out there and it's like, you know what? I haven't been for a bit. That crazy planet.
So is Oort cloud.
That had like some weird creatures on it. Yeah, it's out there. It's an Oort cloud. It's a long period comet.
Yeah.
And comets, again, for those of you out there that aren't sure what a comet is, it's a dirty snowball in space. It's just a cold.
We got dirty snowballs outside.
Dirty snowball.
But this is much bigger.
Hanging out. I didn't read if it was naked eye visible or if you need binoculars.
I'll have to look that up.
To spot it.
Because apparently I'm going to be working on this on Monday.
But again, in early February, it's going to be at its brightest. But it's coming. We got a comet coming by to say hi. I like it.
And comets mean...
Death.
Death
coming. And destruction, basically.
Yeah. Will you quit looking at your phone?
Well, Katie just landed in Orlando.
Okay. We're doing a show.
I know. All right. Last bit of news we have for you, of course, is from none other than the James Webb Space Telescope. It discovered its first exoplanet.
LHS 475, right?
Woo! LHS 475b, 41 light years away from us. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty close, and it's about the same size of Earth, or almost the exact diameter, I'll say. So.
Okay, we got to go back. Jack said that he could just see it with his telescope.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, with the comet. We're talking about the comet.
The comet.
Not the exoplanet, the comet.
So that means maybe it could be naked eye visibility.
Yeah, because it's got at least a month to go.
Yeah. Oh, that's
cool.
awesome. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for telling us that.
All right, exoplanet.
Okay, so the exoplanet has almost the exact diameter of Earth, and it's just confirmed the existence of this exoplanet, which is exciting because future observations, it's going to study more of what this planet is made of, its composition, and then we can be like, ooh, is this a hellscape or
it's a hellscape.
Is it nice?
Okay, I can answer that for you right now.
Oh, see, I didn't read anything about it.
It's a hellscape. It takes something like 2 days to go.
Oh,
it's just a few days.
It's a roiling hellscape.
Yeah, it's a hellscape.
Well, you never know. There could be life that likes really hot planets.
Now, for this though, it is how James Webb discovered it is that it was looking at the star and the brightness dipped.
And they're like, whoa, ho!
Yeah, and so this is
the transit method.
Transit method, and so it's only. I'm gonna take your phone. No. I am gonna take your phone and put it over there.
Nobody listening on the podcast can tell.
Yeah, but it only takes like a few days for it to go around the star.
Okay. I guess I should have read the full.
No, this is
article.
This is one of the things that like I have been so excited about for James Webb, and is the discovering of the exoplanets.
Now to be fair, this was actually a candidate planet first observed by TESS. TESS spacecraft.
TESS is looking for exoplanets. But but what's really cool though is that this is its first one, and it's really close to the star, but it's going to find some that are further out.
Yeah, and it can actually sniff them. Like what you made of. It's like a dog.
And I we like to say the word sniff. But that's kind of what it's doing is it's looking at the atmosphere of these planets and figuring out what's in the atmosphere. And it did that with the those first images that came down in July.
Yes, it said
of
what
last
was in
year.
the atmosphere of an exoplanet.
So James Webb, if it's up there for 20, 30 years, imagine what all we're gonna learn. It's gonna be a fun ride.
So much. And there was another article I didn't put in, but. That there are already researchers at I think Rice University, actually places around the world that were looking into the Carina image and just all the star birth, all these stars, baby stars, these protostars that they were finding that they hadn't seen before in any Hubble image of it, that they've been able to spot just like so many now just from looking at that one image in the near infrared from its NIRI-cam, and they had like markers all over these different areas, and it was like before there was like a certain amount that they would see, and then that number went.
Yeah, what was amazing though about the Carina image back in July was, all right, so they did the whole big announcement, and it was a whole production that Liz and I were like, oh, we need to work for NASA and run their productions. But anyway, with the Carina, they're talking about it, and they're like, this, that, and the other thing, but there were all these regions where like we don't know what's going on right there. And
like we haven't seen.
We have never seen this.
Here.
This is interesting. We don't understand it. And to me, that is the most amazing thing about like the Carina images and all these other images.
Well, and that's the point of James Webb. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Which is giving us better eyes. We got some better bifocals out there. And so it's proving that. Look at what we're missing out on.
And there's nothing wrong with saying we don't understand. I realize that in today's society that a lot of people say, okay, well, science has to understand it. No, that's the beauty of science is that we don't understand everything. We're looking for the answers.
Well, once we do understand something, then another question pops up, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, or another observation comes that we just don't understand. We don't have all the answers, unlike some people who say that they have all the answers. We don't have them, and we advance by looking for those answers and eventually getting there. But that's like a hangover. That's a hangover.
But I agree with you.
Yes.
We do have a little in memoriam before we close out the show.
Do we need to pour out a drink?
I prefer you didn't, because,
Because we got plans.
You know. But this in memoriam is for China's, I should have looked at the pronunciation of this, the Zhurong rover.
Sure. We're being blocked by the Great Firewall of China,
that's
so
true.
They aren't listening to us anyway.
It was it's a rover that was put into hibernation 6 months ago to help it survive the Martian winter, where it's on Mars, where temperatures can get down to negative 100 degrees Celsius.
Which is cold.
It's pretty chilly. It was supposed to wake up from hibernation on December 26th. And China's National Space Administration is trying to reestablish communication. However, there was also a regional dust storm that cloaked the area, and that reduced the energy it could use to keep its batteries operational.
Damn dust storms on Mars.
That's the big hazard on Mars, is the big dust storms on Mars. Many a rover have succumbed
to it.
To a rover and lander.
Opportunity.
Yep.
And then
Spirit,
Insight.
Insight of recent. Eventually those solar panels are gonna get too dirty to work. So so here's to the Zhurong rover. You know, at least you got there, buddy.
And let's be honest, we want like every country to drop something on a moon, Mars, whatever.
Not something destructive.
No. Okay, like something that gives us scientific knowledge.
Drop some science.
Rover, orbiter. We want China to go places. We want obviously want the European Space Agency to go places.
A country's government is not necessarily a country's people.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's great. China landed on Mars, but Mars has a way of just eating up spacecraft.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can, because we have been in a really good
yes, the Abuela Robo solar panel cleaners from last episode. They're made on Mars.
I forgot all about that. I mean, we're in this great period right now where we've been very successful, but it really was before this period of 50-50 shot.
Yeah, it's like, well,
from human era to just Mars just eating shit.
Yeah.
And so, Mars.
God of War, you gotta win that battle to make it there.
Oh, well done. Well done.
That's what I'm here for. On that note, thanks for joining everyone on this episode of Cosmos with Cosmos High in the Sky edition for January 2023.
What are we doing in 2 weeks?
Magnetars. We're gonna talk Magnetars.
Yes, we had to change the schedule a little bit.
I'm gonna find the Nirvana song that has Magnetar in the lyric.
Okay. We had to change it on the schedule a little bit because Brandon's not going to be available in 2 weeks, and we want him available for talking.
Yes. So we're going to do Magnetar in 2 weeks.
We're going to change it up.
But follow us on all the things at Drinking Cosmos on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else. And of course, if you're with us live right now, or you want to come back later and hang out with us on the Hangover.
There you go. Okay. I was going to be like, wait a minute.
I created the name. I'm not going to forget the name like some other two people.
Will you wrap this up? I have to go do the IPS.
You got to renew your IPS membership? All right. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll
Cheers,
see you
everybody.
next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right. For those of you with us on the YouTubes, we will be right back with the Hangover. So stick around and sit tight. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I thought that was the title sequence and that was the wrong button. So, hey!
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to The Hangover.
We'll fix it in post.
Hangover with Cosmos where we just
I'm Mike.
shoot the... We don't introduce ourselves.
I know.
Oh, yeah, we don't introduce ourselves in The Hangover, do we?
We don't. As always, I'm Mike.
I'm Liz.
And this is The Hangover.
Where we just shoot the shit.
We're going to shoot the shit. Like with all hangovers, we have not really thought this through. So, yeah.
That's what happens. Anyway.
Yeah, January. All right, so, I called my drink the perihelion.
Yes.
And hi, Mike. Hi, Karen. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. All right, so, what's really fascinating to me about, perihelion... All right, so there are two terms in it. Well, there's more than two terms.
Aphelion?
But there's aphelion.
I say aphelion.
Okay, well, the pH.
Aphelion? But
Aphelion.
I'm like perihelion, aphelion.
Well, okay, first of all...
Wait, is the comment green?
Okay, we'll get to that. Look it up real quick. While I do this stuff. This is where you can
Well, if
use
it's
your phone.
It probably has like a greenish tail, and that would be from oxygen?
Well, the stuff that makes it up, yeah.
Yeah.
But
if it has a green tail. Anyway, we'll go aphelion, perihelion.
Look it up.
You complained about me being on my phone in the main episode. Now you want me to be on my phone.
But then I just said you could do it here. All right, so, but the pH, feeling it, but my ears don't work. So I hear sounds that don't really are there.
Maybe it's like a GIF situation. It's GIF, but maybe that's the
all right, I'm going to call it...
Oh, it is green.
Okay. I'm going to call it aphelion. But anyway, that is when the Earth is its most distant from the sun, which is in July. Perihelion is when we are at the closest point to the sun, about 91 million miles. And that happens in January. In fact, it happened on January 4th of this year, 2023. And so, a lot of people who say the reason why summer happens is because we're closer to the sun, which is not the case at all. Because wintertime for the Northern Hemisphere occurs in January. Well, December, January, and February. And we are actually closer to the sun at that point, so by that logic it should be warmer, but it's colder for us here in the north. Now, New Zealand...
Because we're tilted away.
We're tilted. It all has to do with the Earth's tilt. All right, so what did you find out?
All right, so this comment... I don't know why I didn't look up more about this fucking comment. Anyway, by the end of January, should be visible without binoculars or a telescope.
Okay.
Right now, binoculars, you can use to see it. Jack saw it with his telescope. But it should be visible in the unaided eye. I'm assuming with maybe not in, New York City. And it's green because... it just hit its, what day is today? 15th. It just hit its closest point to the sun. So it's been red shifted. It's getting closer to us, so it's going into more of a blue shift. So it's green right now because of that, and it'll get more bluer.
How fast is it friggin' moving that it's going to be shifted that much? I mean, to shift wavelengths like that, it's got to be moving.
Let's see.
Fast.
Well, the closest the comet's going to get to us is 26 million miles away.
So 26 AU. That's far away.
So it's far.
No. I'm sorry. No. That's.
I don't know. It doesn't say how.
26 million is far, but it's a third of an AU.
It doesn't say how fast it's going, but we're kind of.
Third of an AU.
We're in between a red and a blue shift right now, which is why we're getting kind of a green shift. So that's why it's green. And 50,000 years ago, so that means the last time it came by for a visit was in the Stone Age.
Damn.
That's wild.
That is crazy. That's actually one of the things that I love about astronomy is everything is in the past. No matter what you're looking at or when some event happened, it's always in the past. If the sun were to blow up right now, it's 8.5 minutes ago.
There you go.
We're in a show.
Yeah, that is.
I'm gonna have to look into this blue shift, red shift thing. I understand red shifts and blue shifts and that type of thing, but that's a fast movement to have it shift.
I mean, well, let's see if it's if it's an Oort. If it's an Oort cloud, if it's a long period comet coming from the Oort cloud, takes 50,000 year orbit. I mean, I feel like it's gonna move pretty.
Yeah, but the laws of physics are still the laws of physics.
Are they?
Yes, they are. And so it's not moving fast enough to escape the gravitational influence of the sun. So it's still bound to the sun, just like the Earth is bound to the sun. When we look at Venus,
but I guess it's like coming around. So
right? But when we look at Venus, and Venus is actually coming towards us, we don't talk about Venus being green.
Yeah,
or
I think it's far enough
shifted.
away that it looks.
Yeah, but 26 million miles away is kind of how far away Venus is at its closest point to the Earth.
Is it?
Yeah. Venus at it is about 76.
Well, and also it's moving faster than Venus is.
Yeah, well,
I'm assuming significantly faster.
I'm gonna have to look into this.
All right, he's got to look into it. I'll tell you who said it though. Who gave that information about it being green?
As if I'm gonna know this person. Are you talking about like the website?
The Montana Learning Center Executive Director Ryan Hanaho.
Hanaho. Sorry, Ryan. But...
as everything should, Jack. Everything that sees Earth. Close the windows, lock the doors, hit the gas, get the fuck out of here. All right, yeah.
Speaking of which, only because Stephen Colbert talked about this, we watched the two most insane documentaries last night. One of them was
Order of the Myths.
The Order of the Myth, which is all about racism.
Mobile, Alabama, Mardi Gras.
It's all about racism.
Society.
But the other one was
the hatch-wielding hitchhiker.
The hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. But Stephen Colbert talked about how anytime he sees a hatchet-wielding hitchhiker, he rolls out the window and
that's the kind of hitchhiker you want to avoid.
That was on Netflix, right? You should check it out.
Yeah,
It's an insane ride.
That was.
All right, back to astronomy.
Anyway, yeah. So we figured out the mystery of the green comet.
And we haven't really. And so I want to look it up because I want to know how fast it's going. Might do some calculations with it. See how much it actually is kind of blue shifted.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to worry about that until Tuesday when I'm actually at work.
How many green Skittles?
How many green Skittles? Yep. Because apparently I'm going to have to deal with this comment on Tuesday when I look at a ticket from work.
Okay, well there you go. Now you know what. Oh, okay, it's comet. That's why they need that.
The comment.
That's why they need that location.
I'll be like, oh, Sepe, it's the green. It's the
which
green
again
comet.
Can be seen passing through the Big Dipper and Cassiopeia, or on a path through.
Which is very north,
Dipper,
by the way, which really is
sky.
kind of a indicative of that's an Oort cloud.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say what the Oort cloud is.
The Oort cloud. Basically, think of it this is the way it was put to me, and how I always remember it, and I love it this way. Is basically we are in a hamster ball of comets.
Okay, you're not really saying what the Oort cloud is, but
it is just a region of our solar system filled with comets. That it's like, imagine a hamster ball, but the outer walls of the hamster ball are comets, and we're just a little hamster inside.
That's true.
We're not making the move like a hamster ball, but so these comets, they're kind of just surrounding our solar system in a sphere around our solar system, like a. It's like I don't know, we have like a protective wall of comets or something. And they're in orbit around the sun. It takes
but they're
them a really
way
long time.
out there.
Yeah, they're super far away. I don't remember how far away the Oort cloud is.
Halfway between here and Alpha Centauri. So, I mean, it's
It's
a light year, a couple light years away.
It's far out there. It's
all
far
right.
out, bro.
So the solar system formed 4.5 billion years ago.
You want to go to like how it formed?
Yeah, and so it was this swirling gas that created the planets and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the sunset. But if it's like all the way around the sunset.
Yeah. All right. So this the Oort cloud is kind of left over.
It's leftover debris
From the creation of
the
the solar
wind
system.
was like,
and it's
swept out all the little stuff.
It's moving out, and it was predicted by Jan Oort.
Hence, Oort cloud.
Yeah, I think
O-O-R-T.
1930s, 1940s, somewhere around there, it is the source of the long-term comets. The short-term comets, things like Halley's Comet and things like that. 7,500, 150 years. That comes from what's called the Kuiper Belt.
Yeah.
Which is kind of out near Pluto. Pluto
Uh-huh.
is in the Kuiper Belt. Yeah, spherical halo.
Yeah. What is the so like long period comets? There's like they usually are like what 1,000, 10 in the tens of thousands of year orbit range. What's the minimum? I don't remember what there's like usually.
I don't think you can necessarily say that there's a hey, this is a cutoff.
An orbital length cutoff.
If it's earlier than 10,000, then it's going to be a Kuiper. I don't think it works that way. Because this really is all about where it's coming from,
right? Yeah.
It's really about where it's coming from, and so you could have. And so long-term comets that come from the Oort cloud are typically. They can come really from anywhere. Direction.
Whereas the Kuiper Belt, that's still on the plane of the solar system.
That's going to be in the plane of the solar system.
Although is it tilted with Pluto like off or
it does this weird little thing where the Kuiper Belt is in the plane, but then as it gets out towards Pluto, it starts to taper. And so you get this like torus looking thing around the sun, but yeah, and
so you know that they're going to come from certain directions. They're going to have a certain path.
The Kuiper Belt is typically going to be in the plane of the solar system, or 5-10 degrees,
slightly off the plane,
5-10 degrees off.
Whereas Oort cloud comets.
It can come from any direction
because they surround us. It's
basically a shooting gallery. Do comets occasionally escape? That is yes, that is true. That they will do that. And so when you're in the Oort cloud, you're 1-2 light years away from the sun. You're really far out there.
Is drastically lessened.
Right,
it's
and
holding power.
And so if you have a star that comes by, keep in mind this isn't like it comes by like next week.
Oh,
the star,
buddy.
Yeah. It actually can gravitationally pull these comets out. And there was this comet that came through the solar system, I don't know, a few years ago.
That wasn't from our solar system,
I can't even pronounce it. But it was not from our solar system. It was not from the Oort cloud. It was from...
It was an alien comet.
It was an alien comet. So yes, comets can escape. And then they go like free floating through the galaxy, and eventually they'll maybe pass through a solar system, an alien quote unquote solar system.
Could you also have comets in the Oort cloud like collide and then alter their path outward?
Yeah, but also just like with the
asteroid belt, they're all in this region surrounding, but they're all still really spread apart from each other.
Yeah, so
a collision is pretty unlikely.
I mean, we've all seen The Empire Strikes Back, and this great scene of Han,
dodging asteroids all over the place.
Leia, they're in this asteroid belt. They're dodging these asteroids, and so we all. Oh, crap.
I forgot we were talking about Star Wars. We don't usually do the rules for the hangover, though.
No, but anyway, all right, so they... I
didn't have any more drink.
Oh, yeah, have some. Let me know how it tastes. I haven't had any.
What's in it?
That is a Jamaican mule with cranberry and orange ginger beer.
Orange or blood orange?
Blood orange ginger beer. So we all had this view of the asteroid belt where these asteroids are just all zipping by each other.
Mm-hmm.
But on average, asteroids are separated by
Millions
like
of miles.
million miles.
Yeah.
It's really. Oh, that was a bark.
That wasn't a bark. That was a grumble.
Oh, I thought it was a bark.
That was a grumble.
But anyway, so that's in the asteroid
turn
belt.
into a bark.
That's in the asteroid belt,
Yeah.
which is much closer to the sun, and so it's a much denser region.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when out in the Oort cloud, you're talking tens, hundreds, thousands of millions of miles separating comets.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah.
And then it's more spherical.
Right.
Whereas in the asteroid belt, it's more torus.
It's more
in the plane.
Yeah. It's more in the plane.
Yeah, and
what do you like better, asteroids or comets?
Wow, that's
what's more interesting?
I think that all right. Okay, I'm going to answer it both ways.
Oh, okay.
From the perspective, that's a good question. Because I never thought about it. From the perspective of what was the solar system like 4.5 billion years ago, comets are just pristine examples of that. Of the original cloud that formed the sun. And so from that, I do think that comets can give you a much deeper understanding of what
the early solar system.
Right. And so yes, I'm gonna say comets. However, though, I do think that, and this is gonna turn really dark. Asteroid impacts on the Earth, I think, are fascinating, and I do realize, and I realize there's death and destruction that comes with it,
extinction level destruction occasionally.
Yeah, and so I think that it's also very fascinating that you can have an object that's 6 miles across wipe out like 75% of life on Earth.
And then allow a whole new species to dominate the planet.
And to allow basically what amounts to a bunch of monkeys eventually run the Earth at some point. And we watched this.
I come from no damn monkey.
No, you didn't. But a common ancestor, yes. We watched this comedy special last night, and the comedian said it's really impressive that we have changed the Earth with climate change.
Right.
And so I do find I find the physics of impacts and what happens after that impact fascinating.
Right.
I don't want it to happen.
No.
But
not right now anyway. Maybe. You know.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Humanity's going to wipe itself out. But I do find it fascinating. If you've ever been to
meteor crater.
Yeah, an impact site, and just looked out over it, and to realize that happened from basically a BB from space hitting the Earth, is humbling, and it's just an amazing thing. Like we went to Meteor Crater. We have a picture of us on the lip of Meteor Crater, and you're talking. When did Meteor Crater happen? It was something like
a million years ago.
Oh no, it was tens of thousands, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? What? Which one?
Oh, look it up.
Now I want to say like 30,000 years ago.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, it's a mile wide.
It's a mile wide and almost a mile deep. What, 3/4 of a mile deep?
It's looking at pictures of it, you really don't get the scale of it unless you go there, and you go.
And so this impact occurred in northern Arizona, just east of Flagstaff by like
50,000 years.
50,000 years ago, but like
it's 560 feet or 170 meters deep.
Yep. It was
almost a mile wide.
Yeah, it was created by this asteroid that hit the Earth, and. I really say that I want
50,000 years ago, that's when our zombie star was born.
Yeah, I would love...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's when the comet last passed by. That's
Yeah.
what we're talking about. It was when the comet last passed by.
It's the comet's fault. The comet...
Harbinger of death and destruction.
All right, well...
We found the connection.
It was great seeing everybody. We're all
the
gonna
green
die.
comet caused meteor crater.
Oh,
Shit,
boy.
what does it have in store for us this time?
So, I mean, imagine being in Flagstaff, Arizona.
I mean, you're dead.
Imagine being on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, which was near this impact. But being in Flagstaff, Arizona, and seeing this thing happen. I mean, you would have died.
Yeah.
But
you did. Go, well, that's been fun.
But
Guess I don't need to work on this fucking hammer anymore.
This is
hammer out of this rock.
That comet's fault. We're gonna die, guys. Next month we're gonna die. We gotta get to Oregon as soon as we can.
Yeah, so we can live by near two volcanoes.
What would you do if NASA says, hey, there's this asteroid coming. There's nothing we can do about it. It's going to impact Earth, and it's probably going to be a extinction event. What would you do?
Well, it'd be probably too difficult to get on a flight anywhere because everybody's going to be trying to travel somewhere, home or whatever, or all flights will be grounded because it's like, pilots are like, well, I'm going home to my family now. I don't know. I guess just have a good time. Just drink.
That was a movie, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Drink, enjoy time with the family, and try and squeeze and see in any sights depending on how much time is left.
Well, yeah.
Around. Or just go jump in a volcano. With the One Ring, actually.
It's going to be quicker.
Although I do kind of want to see, I want to see it come in. If we're all going to die, I want to stick around for the show, get some popcorn, and just be like,
okay, but
here it comes.
Would you stick around in the hopes that you might be able to survive it?
No, I'd stick around just so I can be like, I just want to see the world burn.
Okay, all right, okay.
I just want to see it, enter the atmosphere, and then I go, all right, goodbye now.
Would you want to be right under it?
I mean, that'd be the coolest.
That would be really cool.
Shot, right? That'd be the cool front row tickets. I mean, that's... Yeah. I mean, if you're further away, you could possibly survive the initial impact, but then you got to deal with everything else that's coming, and that could be a lot more painful or worse of a death.
Yeah,
so
but
I might as well just
get.
But then you're in just a hellscape of death, so you're not surviving the outlasting consequences of.
Yeah, and you know what?
The impact.
I actually have come to terms with the fact that if the zombie apocalypse ever happened, I'm screwed. So I don't know how to survive.
I would want to try and survive as long as we could, which wouldn't be long. But also, I'd be like, no, let me turn into a zombie because I'm gonna go bite some motherfuckers. So I don't know. I think it might as well turn into a zombie. I want to be a cool looking zombie. Maybe I'll go get a zombie outfit ahead of time so I can be like, all right, how do I want to look while I'm decaying and eating people's brains?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That's Jack doing something. Yeah, our puppy Jack. So it's oh God, what was I gonna say? Oh. What is crazy is that
I'll get total I'll wear my Cannibal Corpse shirt.
That'd actually be really funny and great. Unfortunately, oh God, there would be somebody alive that would. But that's awesome. That was a cool person.
Yeah.
When they were alive.
Yeah.
That they had the forethought to put this shirt on.
Yeah. Here we go. Perfect.
The dogs are playing. But what is crazy about all this is you have at one point, there's going to be one person out of like 7 billion
that's
that
gonna
know
be
we're
like...
fucked. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
That goes,
Uh-oh.
this is an extinction level event,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna hit us. There's nothing we can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God, what would you do if you're looking at the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at, you're plotting this,
Mm-hmm.
and your computer has it intersect, in this really Hollywood moment where it plots it on your computer screen, and it shows the impact of the Earth, and you're able to kind of rotate around the Earth and go, yep, that hits the Earth. And what do you do? I mean, sure, you got to let people know.
Would you, or would, if you do let like higher authorities know, I wonder if it's like, well, if we're all gonna die anyway, might as well not spread mass panic and let everybody just die enjoying their lives or doing what they're doing, or incite mass panic and everybody dies in a mass panic.
Well, yeah.
Or they're dying racing to get home, or
yeah, but
going, it's the purge because we're all gonna die, so might as well just go around shooting everybody because it's America.
Oh God, that would be.
It wouldn't happen in other countries, just here.
Well, that would be the initial purge event, and what would be crazy is that the astronomer who plotted the course didn't convert from
metric to imperial.
From imperial to metric.
And goes,
and it actually misses us.
And then it's like, and then we go, oh no.
Sorry. And then we
all take just a mulligan as a species.
We have this yearly purge that happens. Oh my God. I don't know if I'd want to know. I guess I would want to say to everybody that that is important. Hey, I love you, and thank you for enriching my life. Here at the end of all things, don't press the button because we're not doing that here.
Let's you know what we could do? We could just go to like all like just a bunch of like animal shelters and adopt all the dogs, and then just go out into like a field party. And just let the dogs enjoy and run and do their thing, and we'll love on some dogs, and then we'll all die.
Yeah, because they're really the most innocent creatures, even though they bark at nothing. But I mean, seriously. We're looking at Jack play with Leia over
Chucky,
there.
stop licking her ear.
I don't know, because I think there's also this thing where it just kind of ends, and that you go about your daily life, and but I think I really would like to tell like my kids. And like you and my parents and your parents, thank you for everything. I love you guys, and thanks for enriching my life. And let's just have a drink. Let's just be drunk for 3 days so we really don't feel it. And if we happen to survive
someone go get all the drugs we never would have tried otherwise.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I mean, because like when like drunk people get in accidents, they usually survive because they're just so pliable that they just bounce off everything. And they're like,
they don't brace or stiffen.
I killed 5 people in this wreck, but I survived. So maybe if I'm really drunk,
you'll survive an asteroid.
Yeah, we should do.
You'll get bendy enough.
Yeah, you're all bendy. And it would just be a marathon cosmos to cosmos. So,
we'll just get drunk and watch Armageddon.
Where's Bruce Willis when you need him? Oh my God! All right, well that turned really dark. What was the original question?
What do you like better, comets or asteroids? And we went to extinction level events on Earth. That was our trajectory.
So
that was our orbital
path.
That's all your fault. Yeah. Yeah. I asked a simple question. You like rocks or ice better?
Well, which one do you like?
I like comets. I like the reason of the ancient remnants of the ancient solar system. I mean, some asteroids
like
are as
old
well.
things.
I do like old things.
You do like
I
old
like
things.
the historic stuff, you know. But also because they look cool when they're coming by.
With their tails?
They got their tails, they got their dust tail and their ion tail, you know.
You want to explain what those are?
And those are tails made of dust and ions. But as the comet gets closer, as this dirty snowball gets close to the sun, the solar wind starts, heating it up, and it forms that tail of this material that's being sublimated off the comet.
Which tail?
It
forms the ion tail.
I don't know.
All right, so the dust tail shows the orbit. The dust tail, basically, it's like pixie dust as the comet goes around, it leaves a trail.
The ion tail is the solar wind, and it always points away from the sun.
But there's also a third tail. Yeah, there's actually, I believe, I'm probably going to be correct on this. I think there's actually a tail that faces the sun, but it's much shorter.
How does it face the sun?
I may have dreamed this.
You may have dreamed a third tail, a comet with three tails.
Look it up.
I think the three-tailed comet.
The three-tailed comet.
That sounds like a children's book. The three-tailed comet.
Oh, it does, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you have the ion tail.
But anyway, they look cool, and they're fun to see, And they possibly seeded life with Earth. Seeded Earth with life.
My very first... astronomy project, and I really wanted to. The plan was so there was a comet that was coming by, and I worked at an observatory in Columbia, South Carolina called Melton Observatory, and we had a photometer, and what we wanted to do.
A photometer.
Yeah, so
basically. Measures photons?
It measures photons. It actually counts them. And so what we wanted to do was watch the comet with the photometer and actually see if we could map out its rotation period.
Oh.
And the idea was to get published for it. Turned out it was cloudy most of the time, so we couldn't get good data.
Damn clouds.
But we did get what looked like a rotational curve for like one rotation. Oh. But you can't prove it.
You got one data point.
We got one data point, and so we weren't able to get a nice curve to it. That was my first project.
That's cool.
I can't remember the comet, but it was... Yeah, the idea was to actually it not get some sort of breaking publication. It was just to say this is what the rotational period is.
Yeah.
For this comet, and it was fun getting it. And we had a computer program way back in, this is 1992, 93, that would take the data from the photometer and record it, because you wanted the data, basically what the photon count like per second was, and you'd be able to but damn clouds in Columbia, South Carolina.
That made me think of a question, because my mom says that she's definitely more fascinated with comets, but there is something that fascinates me about asteroids.
Hey Jack, stop.
Oh,
we're doing a show.
They've been cooped up so much.
We're doing a show.
But
Puppy Jack, stop.
A fascinating thing for me is thinking about asteroids that have moons, like Didymos and Dimorphos, which we impacted Dimorphos. Whichever one was the moon, with the DART spacecraft to change to see if we could change its trajectory, which we did. But has there been an observation of a comet with a moon, or they don't really lend to having moons?
I don't think there's been an observation of a moon of a comet. But my first initial thought, without really thinking about it too much, is going to be that it doesn't lend itself to moons. The moon of a comet would be small and icy, which means it would probably evaporate relatively quickly.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah.
But it would also be impacted, literally and figuratively, by the tail creation, because it's going to create the main comet is going to create all these little particles that go out.
Oh, right.
And so these particles are going to be small, but they are going to impact that comet, that moon, and it's going to change its orbit over time. And so, but I think the real issue is that it's going to be impacted by sublimation a lot more.
Okay, that's what I was thinking anyway.
Yes, third tail.
All right, Jack says he does think there are third tail comets. He thinks that it's off-gassing, disrupting the solar wind.
Yeah, I want to say it's like it was referred to as like an anti-tail. So it's actually in front of the comet. But that I might have really dreamt. But I think there is like a third tail.
Okay, interesting.
But the two main ones are the dust tail
and the ion tail.
And the ion tail. And the ion tail, I believe, is more bluish in color. But you actually can see both. And so when you see these pictures of these comets, you see this one that just moves straight out. That's the ion tail. And it's always pointed away from the sun. And then you have this one that actually kind of curves a little bit at the end. That's the dust tail.
That's the dust tail, because it's following the orbit.
And that actually, does follow the orbit. And when we have these meteor showers, we're passing through the dust tail of a comet.
We see all that material, that debris in the dust tail, burning up in our atmosphere. And it's a beautiful sight. In fact, a meteor shower earlier this month in January just ended. And I can't remember which one...
There's only two that matter. Perseids, the Orionids. There's only two that matters. Perseids and Geminids.
I don't think it was the Orionids. Geminids? No, it's
not
Geminids.
The Geminids are in December.
Yeah.
And the Perseids are in August.
It could have been the end of the Geminids, maybe.
Oh, the Geminids are just long fucking meteor shower. I mean, it basically spans a lot of the month of December.
Oh, Jack was thinking like a bow shock on a boat moving through water.
Bow shock, yeah.
I always say bow.
Yeah, because it's spelled the same way.
I always say bow.
The English language is so messed up. It's just like whoever...
But the sun has its own bow shock.
Yeah, it's like whoever came up with the English language was like, all right, we're going to start recycling words.
Yeah, but we'll just pronounce them differently. It's fine. It'll be fine.
For some of them, we'll spell them differently.
It'll be easy.
Yeah.
I said bow.
But yeah, I mean, it says. I mean, it's spelled the same way, and yeah. I don't know. Comets are fascinating, and we actually had, really and truly, before this show, 30 minutes before the show, we're like, okay, Brandon's not going to be here in 2 weeks. We want to change it up. We don't want to do the Tolkien show, even though Tolkien's birthday is coming up.
Yeah.
And so, do we want to do magnetars or comets? We should have picked comets.
I was thinking comets because of this comet. We can change it.
I don't know. We've already said magnetars.
Well, in post, I can just delete that.
No, let's do magnetars because
and then I'll voice over and I'll be like, comet. We're talking about comets. Well, my mouth is going.
Let's do magnetars. We haven't discussed magnetars. But I mean, comets are fascinating. They really are, and we are going to do an episode on comets. And so it's yeah. I don't know. I wonder if Webb can get a good picture.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know. So far, it's gotten a good picture of everything.
So far, yeah.
It's turned its eyes too.
It's going to be amazing what we learn from James Webb Space Telescope. So
anyway, cool.
Got anything else?
No, I don't. I think that was that took an interesting turn and detour in some realms that I didn't think we would talk about off of a simple question.
Yeah, well, I did turn it dark a little bit with the destruction of humanity.
We always like to destroy the Earth, so.
Yeah, humanity needs to go away. So,
I was thinking I was thinking I was gonna try to be a more a half glass full type of person. Stop whining. I don't know if you heard Leia just whine just now.
well, oh God, I am an optimist at heart. I do hope for the best. I do hope for humanity figuring this stuff out. But
meanwhile, I love the Tool song Enema, which just talks about the destruction of LA from a big flood.
Which is ironic because of all the rain they're getting right now.
Yeah, I know.
Them and like Sacramento up north. But I really do. I am an optimist at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I know I come across as a pessimist and somebody who hates corporate America. I do hate corporate America. That's not going to change.
But we participate in it.
We have to participate in it because I like to eat. I mean, do you look at me? I like to eat. I also like to have a roof over my head because as much as I love snow, I don't want to live in snow.
Fair point. Fair point.
And
most importantly, we gotta feed these dogs.
We gotta feed the pups. And so I'm an optimist at heart, and so I do want. I want to live the impact because I want to see the impact, but I also want to survive it.
What's going to happen after now?
I want to see what's going to happen after because I think we can survive it, and I think we can survive it together. Probably won't. But
we can survive anything together.
We can, yeah.
On that note, will we survive an Elden Ring? We're going to go find out because that's what we're going to play right now.
We're probably not going to survive.
We will die many times.
But we'll see everybody in a couple weeks. We'll be in a different location in 2 weeks. From here on out, we'll be in another state, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So the background will look different until it looks the same.
Until it looks better.
No, because we're going to... Remember the one time we did do it in Oregon? The background was great. It was Katie's background. So it looks great.
Well, yeah, but we're like an astronomy themed, nice like studio background that maybe new. Do you want to be an elf, Mom? Maybe New Life will have pointed ears or Vulcan. Oh, Vulcans. You know what, Mom? You get a drink. Star Wars for Star Trek. Oh no, we don't drink for Star Trek.
No, do it anyway.
All right, you get a drink button for that one. Anyway, there we go. We can green screen the background.
You know what?
I don't know if I want any. Oh.
I really would. Is it not good?
No, that's not what I was implying.
We need to watch Star Trek at some point.
Yeah.
You got me those movies.
All right, anyway.
I want to watch the movies.
Thanks everyone for joining us on The Hangover with Cosmos. We will see you next time. Have a great life, everybody. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, stay safe. Love everybody, and cheers.
Bye, guys.
See you in 2 weeks, where we talk about something.
Comments, magnetars, find out.